Awesome, awesome. I believe that we are live. Good evening, everyone. I am so appreciative to be able to take this moment during session and during quite an interesting time to interview someone who is definitely a shero in our community, the chairwoman of the Indiana Black Legislative Caucus, Raeven Shackleford. It is not only a privilege to watch her community advocacy as a fan, it is also an honor of mine to serve and work under her and the Black Caucus. She is truly a community advocate with various projects that she's worked on, such as traffic amnesty, in which she worked with the legislature and Governor Holcomb to ensure that we can eliminate some licensing fees so that individuals can get back on the road and do what's necessary to make a better world for themselves. It's also been fantastic to watch her advocacy for food insecurity, watch her advocate for food insecurities on the far east side. Her district is House District 98, and she has done a phenomenal job following the mentorship of individuals like Representative Charlie Brown and Representative Bill Crawford, the great Congresswoman Julia Carson, just to name a few. She's carried on their torch, fighting for traffic amnesty, as I said, food insecurities, as well as other legislative goals and activities that really truly help the Black community of House District 98, but also Black Hoosiers across the state of Indiana. And I think it's safe to say that her precedent set by her legislation and, of course, her legislative priorities are a precedent for individuals across the nation. Once again, it's such an honor to have her. Let's welcome Representative Raeven Shackleford.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Facebook.
Good evening, Representative Shackleford. Thank you for joining us. How are you today?
Well, after everything that went on today, I'm still here. So I'm just happy to be still here.
I was thinking, I'm like, that might be a bit of a loaded question, but I'm going to ask because you never know. You never know. Thank you for taking this interview with me and the Democratic Party this evening. It is greatly appreciative. The importance of passing the torch and community advocacy. And I want to get right into the questions because I got a few and I know it's been quite a day. My first question is, your sense of community advocacy, your sense of community, it has to be tied to those who came before you, correct? Passing the torch. Would you say working under individuals like Representative Bill Crawford, et cetera, was a torch that you needed? And if that is the case, how do you keep passing that torch forward?
So Representative Crawford was a stickler on making sure that I stay connected to the community. That was one of his pieces of advices. He said, no matter how far you get in the legislature, you need the community and they need you. And at all times, make sure that you're staying connected with them. So when I started to was running, he would take me around to different neighborhood association meetings, community meetings, introducing me, and then making sure that I stayed in contact with those individuals and attended those community meetings.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Do you think that this sense of passing the torch and staying connected to community is more prevalent in the African-American community?
So I don't know if I would say more prevalent. I will say that we have had mentors come before us who were really engaged in making sure that they train the next generation. But I also know at the same time that we always have young people that complain about not being involved in the process and feel they're disconnected. So I would say there's always an attempt. That is what we want to do, is making sure we're connected. We can do a better job of building our bench in the Democrat Party. We must do a better job. So definitely willing and want to make sure that we're always looking out for the next generation who's going to take our spots.
Awesome. That was a fantastic answer. I wanted to know if that was prevalent to the African American community because I must ask, do you think race has affected your path into politics? And if so, how?
So I would definitely say race have affected my path into politics. Growing up, I saw the discrimination going on in my community, in my neighborhood, whether if it was the school district where traditional IPS was getting certain funding versus a suburban school. I went to ADX, and for one semester, I came through traditional public school IPS and ADX for all my years. Then my freshman year, I transferred to North Central Washington Township. And I saw the drastic difference in resources, equipment that was available, classes that you can take. So not only in education, but I saw it in the healthcare field. So I knew that if I wanted to make a change in my community, and because of the discrimination that I had seen, that I was going to have to do it at the State House.
Yes. Oh, well, that is awesome. We'd like to give kudos to you because most people see these things and they become discouraged and they never return back to change them. So kudos to you and your mentors for taking the steps to be the change that you wish to see in society. That discrimination that you face, can you tell us how that might affect your time as a legislator? And does it have impact on any of your legislation?
So I would say that's the main place where you see it, my legislation. I'm always trying to help out and empower my community, whether it be with helping out ex-offenders and making sure that they're actually given a chance for employment, making sure that we have health access, healthy foods in our communities. Any
Yeah.
place our community is struggling, where I'm trying to level that playing field and make sure that we're at the same level as everyone else, and that's what you see in my legislation. I know that a lot of this that takes place is systematic racism. If you're going through our judicial system, so then how can I help in the judicial system to alleviate that systematic racism and build up our community?
Awesome, awesome. Can you talk a little bit? I know we say a little bit, which means a lot of it, but a little bit about the barriers that you might have faced as an African American woman coming into the state house, and of course now as a legislator.
So there are numerous barriers coming into the state house as an African American one. We have that double whammy as far as the racial equality and then also the gender equality that's missing sometimes here in a male dominated industry. There are times when we get talked down to, as they say, mansplaining, trying to tell us things that we're pretty sure we understand. We're just trying to get our viewpoint across. There are times when they say we're angry or too passionate. So anytime we try to present a logical argument, they see it as being passionate. And they also make it seem like that passion, they state it like it's a derogatory statement. So there are numerous challenges when you're trying to get bills heard. I remember one legislator told me, well, just smile or just be nice to the legislator. So it wasn't anything about the facts of the bill and how I can make him understand, but it was more like, okay, if you show some leg or if you're nicer, then maybe you can get your bill heard.
Oh my goodness gracious. I am so sorry that you had to go through that. That unfortunately it is a part of the territory when we are in male dominated industries, and it's absolutely abhorrent that these things are still happening. I would like to know, in your position, how do you take those moments and try to change them in a way that makes it positive for those after you and in your community?
So, first of all, I address the issue, the situation. I don't ignore it. I address it head on and make sure that that member knows that this is not acceptable behavior. Because if we don't call it out, they will continue to act in this type of manner. And I don't want anyone that's coming behind me to have to be able to accept that behavior. Next, I'm looking for some kind of corrective action. If I'm identifying how you're treating me and it's not acceptable, then where are we going to go from here? How are you going to stop doing this? Do you need some training? Do I need to come and talk to you? Do we need to sit down with people? Because my intent is to make sure that it doesn't happen any further.
Awesome. So proactivity versus reactivity. We love to hear it. So my next question would be something you said stuck out. You said, I want to make sure that no one after me accepts this type of behavior. So how do you prep the next generation, and how do you prepare young Black Hoosiers looking to become elected officials or get involved in these processes?
So I try to sit down with young African American leaders, seeing where their passion is, trying to support them in any way that I can. I give them my number. I try to keep in contact with them. Anything that we're doing at the State House, I have a small group that I constantly send them out texts so they personally know that we want their input. When it comes to giving me input on bills, that I want a young person perspective, because of course their perspective is going to be different from ours, then I'll give them a call, I'll give them a text and say, what do you think about this? How should we handle this differently? And then additionally, I try to bring them alongside. So either if they're working for me or working in the State House, I may have them go in my place and represent me at different community meetings so they can get a chance to shine and people can get to know them. That all helps them as they're trying to build their career and build themselves in the community. Anything that I have, I want to share with them, and I'm willing to share with them to make sure that we can get them to the level where they need to be at when they take over these roles.
Awesome. Awesome. So, what advice do you have for young Black Hoosiers who are looking to get involved?
So there's a couple of things. I will say definitely if you want to be a legislator one day, if you want to be a council person one day, connect with a legislator or a counselor and have them as your mentor. Let you go alongside them when they're going to meetings, see if you can shadow them for a day so you can see what it's truly like behind the scenes, not just in public and what you see on social media. And also, I created my own internship with the Democrat Party when I was in grad school. The internship program was over. So I said, well, can I come work with you guys to see how this works? And at that time, the chair of the Democrat Party said, I'm going to put you with the person that's over the House and Senate races. From that internship, I got to see a behind the scene viewpoint of what it's like to run a campaign and what the party expects of you, whether it's making sure that you are raising the money that you need to raise, going
Yeah.
to the events you need to go to, what you need to say to media, and they don't tiptoe around anything. So if you don't have thick skin, this is not the business for you because you're have thick skin, not only internally and to put up with what's going on internally, but especially externally. So start building your ability to accept and to appreciate, whether it is commentary, whether it is recommendations, someone trying to make you feel better, or just criticism, because you're going to face criticism every day in this industry, but you must keep moving forward. You have to keep moving on and keep pushing and don't bail out.
Awesome. Awesome. So, we've had a few of these interviews this Black History Month already. You sitting on our IYD panel, and of course now, so you should know that we always ask the serious questions, and then I got to ask a few fun questions if you don't mind. So, I am all about history. I absolutely adore history,
You
especially.
are.
Yeah, I love the history. So I really want to know, do you have a favorite Black History moment with one of your mentors from the State House? And can you share it with us?
Hmm. I'm trying to think. I don't know if it's a Black History moment. Um, I would say one of the moments is when I started the lobby. Representative Crawford saw me out in the hallway. So at this point, I'm a lobbyist in the halls. And he came out and he specifically came up to me and he said, Robin, you need to listen and learn everything you can in these hallways. because if you're ever going to be in one of these seats, you need to know what's going on out here at all times. So I just thought that was special. I thought it was just a moment of, I didn't know if I ever was going to be in one of those seats, but I knew I was kind of going towards that way. But at the same time, I like lobbying too. But he made it a point like, you need to learn as much as possible, and you're going to use this to take it to the next level.
That is a great way to end our interview today. I know that you've had a day, so I want to make sure that I give you time to get home and to eat and get ready to do more tomorrow. So thank you so much for taking the time to have this interview with me and with us, the Democratic Party. Look forward to seeing what you and the Legislative Caucus have, because I know that the IBLC has more in store, of course, and I'll let people ask any questions if they do about anything that I've talked with Representative Shackleford about, or anything that you may have on your mind. Let's see. I see some comments. Oh my gosh, you're popping. You are popping, Representative Shackleford.
There's a little excitement here today. They're probably going to smell that.
Oh, the excitement of today. So I want to read a few of these comments so that you are celebrated. Someone said, "Thank you for your leadership." Another said, "Thank you for everything you are doing at the State House and as a leader of the Indiana Black Legislative Caucus." Someone else gave us kudos for providing ASL accessibility. And then we have a little bit of a long comment. She said, "Thank you so much for your service. What advice can you give to white allies and how we can best support you in your current environment, especially in a state where we have such a deep history and present of racism?"
So I would say that's the first step right there, is recognizing that racism still exists. I would say some of our members here don't understand that concept and don't believe it does. But once you recognize that it still exists, once you recognize your white privilege and those privileges that you have been given without even asking for them and where they have got you at, you will start to empathize with someone that doesn't look like you. We will ask that you come alongside us. We need people to advocate on behalf of our legislation. We have started an advocacy series every Friday at 11 a.m. by Zoom. Raven helps host that and put that together. So if you want to join us and get on our advocacy team to help us, you can email us at iblc@iga.in.gov, and we would love to have you as an ally to come aside us.
Yes. And following up a little bit on that, could you please tell them a bit about the IBLC policy and what advocacy, community advocacy especially, means to pushing agendas?
So this year, every year we put together an IBLC agenda based on those bills that we feel most represent our community. This year, our agenda was totally focused on justice reform. Now, not to say that we still didn't have other bills, because each member gets a maximum of 10 bills to author, and most of our members took that 10 bill option. So together, we had about 140 bills out there. But our focus was on these justice reform bills, 36 bills that specifically the community said they wanted, as we heard from them throughout the summer, in trying to eradicate a lot of this injustice that's going on in our justice system. The advocacy piece is, at the legislature, we look at numbers. So even though you may have us advocating on behalf of you guys, as 14 of us, legislators look at if they receive 50 emails or 50 texts supporting a bill, that holds a lot of weight. And they also read the emails. So we knew that if we were going to push this agenda, we need the power of the people behind us to help us push this agenda. And that's where that advocacy comes in, and the importance of the advocacy in the legislature.
Awesome. I'm doing one final check. Last call for question. I think that's the end. So, Representative Shackleford, do you mind leaving us with a quote that you think signifies Black excellence?
Let me see. I don't know if it's Black excellence or just excellent in general, but I will say, let me see. I do have my favorite Martin Luther King. Um, faith. Wait, I don't want to mess up his quote because I'm thinking about it. Let me just say my own quote.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll go with that. At every moment, you should always be trying to live in God's purpose for your life. And if you are truly going to live in God's purpose, you are going to have to be persistent. So I would say that is quote to make sure that you're always living in His purpose for you, so you can shine the way you should shine.
Awesome. That was beautiful. Okay. See, you were worried. That was beautiful. Let's make sure that we paint that in gold and hang it up on our walls. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day. Thank you, Raven and State Democrat Party. Thank you all.
You're welcome. Have a great night, you guys.
Bye.